Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Welcome to NYJ
What's
today.
up?
We
What's
hope
going
you
on?
guys are fired up. We are fired up over here.
It's starting to heat up now.
Yeah.
We're coming out of the cave. The grizzly, you
I'm
know.
going to grow the beard back out. I had it pretty long
I
earlier.
have a ravenous hunger
Oh,
for talent.
free agency is right around the damn corner. It is right here.
Joe D's probably waking up every day,
Yes.
feeling amazing.
Quick shout out. If you're here live, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you are one of our people that watches after the stream has ended, we also appreciate you. So we just wanted to give you that heads up. This is a show for people who are watching it after and during. So
Absolutely.
just got to keep that in mind. And I think we should get right into it.
Well, hopefully they saw the upgrades that you really put together. Some of the graphics.
Yes.
There's some other things that I'm pretty sure John will show as we go through. But we're much more confident, chat, that starting on time without technical difficulties is very much the reality with where the stream is. So
we have invested in the stream. We are going to amp our production, so we are putting out for a service basically to not have blackouts during the streams. Yep. Good evening to everybody. So it's started.
Grand Rude.
It is awesome to see that maybe some people talked about us in one of 24/7's pods. That's greatly appreciated. I don't know what the context of that conversation was. It is appreciated, though. We are trying to, amp it up a little bit. So, anyway, let's get started. Kind of like what Straight Fire said. I say we get right into it.
Let's go. Kick it off.
So, topic number one tonight is just simply put, Marcus Maye. The situation is now different than what it was the last time we talked. So Marcus Maye has been franchise tagged by the New York Jets.
Loving it.
It's a 1-year guaranteed contract of $10.5 million. How do you not like this move if you're a Jets fan? You're tagging a really good football player, a safety, but a very, very good football player. And the thing is like $10.5 million is a good amount of money, but we're not overpaying Marcus Maye by any means.
It was like 10.1.
It's like, it might be like 10.2. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Not make a big difference, but yeah, no, I think especially looking at his stats. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. I think his worst season was 2018, but he picked it back up for 2020. His 2020 season, at least as far as tackles and I believe interceptions, matches his rookie year in 2017. So the guy obviously has consistency, which the Jets need more than ever. So I love it.
And Marcus Maye, that's the thing when you're talking about him, and you touched on it nicely. He's a good physical football player. He can make tackles, but he's also really, really good in coverage. He's one of those, I would say, hybrid safety. He can do pretty much everything.
What's his size?
I would say about 5'11", 215 pounds, something like that.
I mean, he's got a good size on him.
He might be 6 foot. I'm not sure exactly. Let's see here. So, Robbie Oak.
What's up, Rob?
He's saying he hopes that he gets $3 million for $39 million. So that would be about a 13 APY average per year. And it says that makes him happy because I don't think he's happy right now. Robbie Oak, I can be honest with you. I'm concerned about Marcus Maye. And this is a good segue, actually. So his agent put out a comment on Twitter. Everybody knows about it. If you don't know about it, basically Eric Burkhart, I believe is his name, the agent of Marcus Maye, sent out a tweet and said how the Jets don't take care of their own, even the veterans, the ones that they draft. He basically called the franchise out. And so that set the situation, or set the stage, I should say, for conflict, I feel like. Yeah. Because they threw out a bomb in the media. That's planned. Like they didn't mistakenly say that. Like they knew what they were saying.
No, absolutely. They wanted to force the hand.
Exactly.
No, I think they can calm that down though, because you got pretty much. Yeah, well, you got a new head coach. You got Joe D, who's relatively new in the front office. I think the Jets organization should be able to handle that and combat that by just looking at everything they're doing to refresh the way the management of the team works. So, I mean, when you say you're worried about Marcus, you mean Marcus leaving the team due to?
No, I just worry about it getting ugly and tense.
The drama.
It'll make negotiations difficult, and that's why I feel like the agent. maybe I'm not. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an agent, but I would feel like that kind of thing just sets it up where it's going to be like hitting heads, basically.
It's a
When you're trying,
negotiation tactic.
I guess you might be right about that. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Phil's calling out Marcus Maye from getting beaten by probably the third best tight end in the National Football League.
That's a good
Phil,
point.
he clowned everybody last year. Look at Darren Waller's stats. Look at his tape. He is a freaking beast. Darren Waller is a matchup nightmare of epic proportions. So the fact that Marcus Maye didn't stick him, I'm thinking is probably okay.
Yeah, Phil. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, no, I mean, again, Marcus Maye, we're not paying him as a top 10. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're not paying him as some sort of elite player. We're paying him 15 plus million a year. We're paying him 10 and a half.
Right.
I mean, that's not a huge investment.
It's a good deal for the talent you get.
Yep. So let's see here. Straight Fire's coming in, and he says, guys, you don't think he's worth $12 million a year for 3 years? I do. That's the deal to make. I don't think anybody would really have a problem with that, actually. I think a 3-year deal is probably the maximum length that I'm willing to give Marcus Maye.
Right. Because at that point, he'll be hitting his 7th or 8th season.
He will be 30, I think.
Yeah.
If we sign him right now, this minute, he would be either, I think, 31
Right.
by the end.
And at that point, you don't want to make a longer term commitment than that.
Yep. So that's my only concern is I feel like he may get into a situation, he and the agent, where if things get uglier, might be a trade request. And I mean, it's not too...
We can still make out on that, though.
You mean come out ahead, you mean?
Right.
It's possible.
I think so.
I mean, I don't know. All right. Let's see. So Robbie pulled it for us. Marcus Maye is 6 foot 207 pounds.
Thanks, Robbie.
Yeah. I said
That's-
5'11",
you do a lot
6
with that
feet.
size.
We appreciate you looking up, though. We do appreciate
Yeah,
that.
Robbie's always on point with the stats.
So Grant Rude says the tag allows them to negotiate with no other teams able to. Yeah, they can take their time.
100%.
They can take their time. That's the thing. The only problem I will say though is just free agency is like now.
Oh,
It's
100%.
the tampering period is coming. They're gonna. So I don't know if you know about it. There's a legal tampering
Yeah.
period in the NFL. So I think it's 48 hours or 24 hours prior to the official beginning
I think it's
of
72.
signing.
I think
Maybe I don't
think
know.
it's 3 days.
I don't know. I couldn't be sure.
Robbie,
but-
look
Yeah.
that up.
So the tampering period, anyway, teams are allowed to negotiate, and so during that time, I don't think Joe Douglas is gonna have negotiations with them.
Well, I like your approach on the. I don't know when the right time to get into it, but I did like your perception on where Joe D is sitting and between the Texans and the drafts. Like I don't know if you want to go over that now.
I mean, we can briefly. Basically, what I had said was Joe Douglas is in a primo position right now.
Just break that down. Like, I mean, we're all on the same page, but to be obviously new to the organization, total reign, at least as far as we can see, have the cap space that he has,
Yes.
have the talent in the draft, which can be spotty at times, and then having the free agency of having the possibility of having a top 5 quarterback. I mean, what better position would a general manager want than that? You know?
Yeah, he has all the cards. That's the gist of it all. He holds all the cards this offseason. He will start the draft, or he is going to kickstart basically one of the biggest trades in the NFL.
Well, that's why I wanted you to cover real quick, because your take on it was, I'll wait for you, Texans.
Right. Joe
You-
Douglas can force their hand here. He does not. I think the Texans are in a position where they are not going to trade Deshaun Watson unless they know they're getting their quarterback in the draft. Like, I don't.
Right.
Why would they ever do that? Why would they give up Watson and not have a guy that they're like, yes, this is our franchise. Even though we lost our franchise, we have one again, though.
Right.
So I feel like they can't afford to trade him to another team because the Jets will just take a quarterback. I mean, that's the situation that the Texans are in. I really feel like they are screwed right now.
But do they force the Texans' hand, or not really force their hand, but do they what is their line in the sand to just make the trade for Sam at that point, which would automatically tell you we're taking a quarterback? Like, because you talked really briefly that could happen.
That Sam's traded?
Right.
That will be interesting too, but I think that the Jets will still hold all the cards. Even if they trade Sam early, they still hold the 2 pick. I would assume they're not trading for a quarterback with Sam Darnold. I don't think they're going to
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you let Sam go and you still are trying to hold that 2nd pick,
hold it.
you could get really burned on that, though.
Why? Take a quarterback at 2.
Well, like I said, like there is the possibility they trade down. They trade Sam and trade down. Imagine how awful that would be.
They won't.
I know, but
They won't do that.
We've seen them do crazier things.
They will not trade away Sam Darnold and not take a quarterback at 2.
And like, oh, you laugh, but we took Vernon Golston. So Jesus. How can you really be that confident?
All right, let's see here. Robbie Oak says is a 2-day time frame. Yes, 48 hours.
48 hours.
Where agents and unrestricted free agents can begin discussions. It's on the screen. You all can read it. Straight Fire says, I believe the legal tampering period is 24 hours before the actual free agency, but obviously they can negotiate with their own as of now. I can be wrong, gents. No, yeah, I think they are going to discuss things with Marcus Maye all the way up to free agency. I just don't think once free agency begins, I think Marcus Maye's on the back burner.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that.
All right, with that, we've kind of kicked off the show. Just really quickly, if you guys want a free koozie, if you have not gotten a free koozie, and again, this is for people who even listen to the show after it's finished recording live, you guys can also get a free koozie. So I have nyjtoday@gmail.com. If you email me, I have 5 more of these Jets koozies, and I would love to give them away. I've given away about 5
no
already.
one wants them.
That's not true. We've given away about 5 of them. I just need people to reach out to me. So if you're interested in a free koozie, and if you're listening to this right now, hit me up, and I will mail you a free Jets koozie. Let's see here.
Just in time for the draft, too.
Robbie Oak and the free agents, I think, can negotiate a contract through like July 15th. Oh, franchise tag players. Yep. Absolutely. All right, you want to go to topic 2?
Let's do it.
All right, topic 2. Who are your favorite trade back targets if Joe Douglas decides to ride with Sam? So this is a situation where maybe the Jets are still looking for a quarterback, but they trade back. I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe they decide they want to take a Mac Jones at 23.
I was telling you.
Right. So we're going to talk that scenario out.
I think if that is a possibility with the Niners or the Panthers, I think they got to go Jamar Chase.
Lions might trade back. Oh, I would love Jamar Chase.
Because I know most of us are on the same page, and then Straight Fire, I think me and you were talking about it, which is, I'm tired of hearing the excuse of Sam didn't have the tools, Sam wasn't given a chance. You put Jamar Chase out there, that neutralizes that. No matter how Sam's last year, which undoubtedly would be his last year, no matter how bad it goes, at least we have the closer to kind of say we positioned him with the best shot. And this kind of leads into the other topic about Sam, which we'll get to, but I just think Jamar Chase neutralizes any excuse.
Right.
Whether
bona fide weapon, right?
100%.
I hear you. Yeah. So Jamar Chase is 6 foot, 208 pounds, basically the exact same size as Marcus Maye. I put down a question, so I'm reading it now. So the question that I threw out there was, does anybody actually think that maybe Jamar Chase is a product of Joe Burrow?
Mm.
I'm not one of those people. Just kind of throwing it out there as another kind of talking point that I don't think that's true, though. I think Joe Burrow and him just connected.
Yeah, I agree. I also had a trade down for Kyle Pitts.
Oh, Kyle Pitts. Well, wait a minute. I didn't finish on Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase, for anybody who doesn't know who he is, 2020 he opted out. He did not play. And in 2019 with Joe Burrow, they won the national championship. He had 84 receptions, 1,780 yards. Ready for this one?
Good.
20 touchdowns.
20 touchdowns.
He scored 20 times in his junior year, I think it was, or sophomore year, and he just completely dominated that season. Just completely. You may even be able to argue that Jamar Chase is one of the reasons why Joe Burrow was successful. Like
100%.
the combo. Yeah. So I'm on board with that completely. If they say, okay, we're going to do Sam Darnold, I will be a little bit upset by that. I will be like, this sucks. But again, like if they're trading back, they're going to get a haul. They're going to get a haul. A early first this year.
Right.
Another first the following year, and more picks. They're going to give them more.
They can fill that depth chart
like,
in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. I feel like the trade back isn't necessarily about the player we're getting, because I still feel like there's a lot of good talent in that top 10.
Oh, 100%. You really, if you do trade down, you're going to get something. Well, we're going to get something we need, because the talent pool in those picks are all needs for the Jets. Each one of them.
Yep. All right, so let's get to a chat. So Grant Rood, he says, trading Darnold now tells the Texans that the Jets are taking a quarterback at 2. it forces their hand by showing them ours by presenting the threat of one less QB to choose from.
That's a good point, Grant.
Well written,
just
and
think-
yes.
And that could go really bad though too, right? Because if it blows up, I guess the way the Jets look at it, and Grant, your thoughts, but I guess the way the Jets look at it is Sam was a one more year experiment at the best. It's probably worth putting it out there to your strategy, and if it did blow up, then we were gonna keep Sam for another year. So I can see how the Jets make that trade off. So if I'm tracking the same way you are, that makes sense.
By the way, I'm going to show off a little bit here. Grant Root, I'm just going to make fun of you for your profile, your little pink G. It's really cute, but that's going to be a thumbs down for me,
I
dog.
was timing him on how long it would take for him to do that for a second. Wait until the fart sounds come out.
All of you with shitty profile pictures, get on it and fix them because I don't want to look at them. All right, let's see. Straight Fire, he doesn't care. He's got his face on there. He's the man. Straight Fire, let's hope they get rid of Sam. But if they do, I'm comfortable with the 4th pick if Atlanta trades back. Get him, Chase, he's talking about,
Yep.
or even Kyle Pitts. But
Kyle
Darnold,
Pitts, baby.
So Straight Fire is saying the opposite. He's saying Darnold's got to go no matter what.
I didn't get that. Okay.
So he's saying if you trade back, go to Atlanta's pick and take the best guy that you want. And then he's saying get rid of Darnold no matter what. And that could be also argued too.
Who's on the free agency for quarterback that we would want?
Free agency for quarterback. No. He's thinking probably draft. You could still draft a quarterback at 23 overall.
Yeah,
I think Mac Jones might be there.
Really? You think he'll drop?
Unless the Steelers or the 49ers, somebody trades up for him ahead of the Jets.
I can see that. That's a good point.
Well, and we'll get to this later. But the Jets could trade up from 23 to get Mac Jones.
We have a topic about that.
All right, so another player that I'm going to throw out there for trade back options that I haven't seen in the chat so far. Sorry, 1 second. So the other player that we hadn't talked about so far was cornerback Farley. 6'2", 200-pound cornerback.
It's huge.
He's a big boy. He's like Bryce Hall. So imagine if we draft this dude with big, long arms, big frame. He's going to be hard to get around at the line of scrimmage, dude. That's what those long cornerbacks are all about.
And we don't have any physicality right now in their secondary.
Well, we will.
Well, Bryce. I'm not.
If we get this dude.
Oh, 100%. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Caleb Farley would be awesome. I mean, I'm not in favor of taking a cornerback unless we addressed the edge position in free agency.
Right.
But getting a top flight corner in the draft would be fantastic. I mean, we need one. Grant Root, I'm really just messing with you, dude. You're good. No worries on the pink profile pic. Robbie Oaks says Pitts is growing on me. Chase, I think top wide receiver. I'd like to trade down 2 or 3 times. Yeah, so the Jets could do that too. They might take their quarterback at 2.
Yeah.
And potentially move back from 23 to get more mid-round picks. They can get 4th rounders, 3rd rounders, and build up the rest of this team, man.
Well, I think obviously if they take quarterback, then I do think that that should be a serious strategy that they should think about at that point, because then you would want to surround him with as much stuff as you could. If they don't take Zach, and I think we should talk about Pitts, because I do think he's in that top.
We can talk about Pitts. You want some stats?
Hit me with some stats.
So Kyle Pitts, before I read this, I just want to show, because we were talking about Farley, and this is about Farley. So Grant Root said a lot of people are saying Farley is the best zone cornerback in the draft too, because he's the good open field tackler with great instincts to drive on the ball. I mean, again, I'm happy about that move, man. Like, if we can get a cornerback in the draft and a pass rusher in free agency, that's going to do wonders for our defense.
Changes the dynamics of the defense.
Yes. All right, so you wanted to talk a little bit about Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, you're going to hit me with some stats.
Yeah, 6'6", 246 pounds. 2019, 54 receptions, 649 yards, 5 touchdowns. In 2020, he had 43 receptions, 770 yards, and 12 touchdowns.
What's his physical stats?
6'6", 246. Yeah.
That's a big man. That's a big man, Jack.
A big man, and he can run. He can fly.
Yeah.
So he's a threat. He's a weapon. That's the other thing. Like, people forget about Kyle Pitts is he can line up in the slot, dude.
Yes.
He can do the Kittle thing.
You could really, I mean, it's a tight end league right now. You know, think about how all the teams run in strong tight end positions. That would be pretty exciting. no matter who's behind center at that point.
Oh, but I don't want that. I want Darnold gone. I got you, buddy. No worries.
That's straightforward.
Yeah. Great. Grant Rude says Pitts to me is Claypool 2.0. I know Pitts is tight end. Claypool is wide receiver. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like we know Pitts coming out is a tight end. He's just a really good athlete at tight end. Absolutely. I would love.
Shred some
Did you want to say
linebackers.
something? Oh, did you want to say something? Oh, yes. That would be the thing
Oh
with
my
Kyle
God.
Pitts. He would just be a matchup nightmare. You'd
Can you
almost
imagine?
always have to have a safety on him.
Be like Gronk when he was young.
That's going to open some deep passing
Oh,
opportunities.
100%. Get Mims out there.
Because then with Kyle Pitts in the middle, you're going to have to bring your safety down in a lot of that kind of look.
100%.
And it
You have to
changes.
try to contain that.
It would change the way defenses play the Jets. That's what I'll say. So that Kyle Pitts pick, it does make a lot of sense because if we kept Darnold, if we're simplifying the defenses that he has to face, where he knows that safeties are going to almost always have to be on him or else go to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Let those linebackers try to stick with him. Just let them.
And then let the rest of the weapons get free at that point.
Welcome to the chat. We got some new people joining
Oh,
us
we got a sound
in
effect
here.
for that.
Let's get a couple ding dings. Thank you. We got James D. Pietro trading back to 8. I'd take Slater. I cannot agree with you on this one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We cannot trade back and take an offensive tackle. He looks like an animal. I completely get it. Physical freak. The problem, though, is we have Mekhi Becton. And we have a good veteran right tackle right now in George Fant. And he's not, it's not like he's expected to fall off of a cliff. Like, he's not going to be done this year. He played decent football.
Who said this comment? James.
De Pietro.
Yeah, that's like my Penny Soul comment. That I got totally beat up about.
Yep. Robbie Oak appreciates me. He says the technology is amazing.
Robbie.
Yeah. All right. So James D. Pietro, I will put this up because I feel like that's what people continuously say when they refer to offensive tackles. That's always what they say. Build the wall. And listen, I appreciate and want our offensive line to dominate. Listen, that is the most important position in all of the offense is offensive line. If your offensive line sucks, your offense sucks.
It's gonna be a rough year. Let's just say that. It doesn't necessarily put you out.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are a perfect example of that.
It is. Yes, we know the importance of offensive line, and I just feel like trading back and taking one is a mistake, though.
Well, it also would be a very boring season to watch again because not to say they're not adding other talent.
It just depends on free agency. That's
Right.
the thing. Like we
True,
don't
true,
know.
true.
We do not know what's going to happen in free agency. We are all so excited about it, though.
Dude, it's close. We made it.
Yes.
Chat. We made it through the hibernation period.
Yes.
Is that a cheers? Maybe we should cheers to that.
I have my beer. Oh, you got your beer. Nice. Good for you.
You want to do a cheers?
Let's get a little that noise. Drink it on.
I just had Robbie Oak's freaking statement in my head. The technology's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on. We talked about Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, Caleb Farley as all options for the trade back. What's up, Joe?
Joe, man, what's going on? Happy
We
Wednesday.
are glad to see you. Happy Wednesday, Robbie Oak. Oh, he's talking to Grant. My bad. So, Joe, welcome, man. We love having you here every night. Hope you are a weekly dude. Let's see. R Red Sports. By the way, this man's on Twitter, and he tweets at him on Twitter because I talk to this guy every once in a while. He says, hey, guys, if I'm trading back, it's got to be Trey Lance.
Ooh.
Thank you for coming to the chat. This is what we need. We need
Yeah,
these different situations.
Stir that pot.
This is why we want to do this show. All right, so he says, trading back for Trey Lance. I think I'm a Fields fan, which I know you are because you've been defending him on Twitter. But he said, I could get on board with Mac or Lance if we trade back. I agree with that. Again, how can we not trust Joe Douglas? If he makes this decision to trade back and draft a quarterback, how can we not buy him? We can't afford to not buy him. I mean, as fans, what's the point of even rooting for the team if you don't trust a GM that's like widely regarded as being a guy who knows what he's doing?
I guess it would be similar to the Marino draft when you got to pass on Zach and Fields. Not to say those are in the same caliber of coming out of school like Marino was, but I mean Zach's pretty hot right now. I mean, Zach's stock went through the roof in the last.
It's going through the roof still.
Yeah. But yeah, that'd be rough. I mean, I understand. I can see that being the smart move for NFL analysts to make. I just think as a fan, that would be hard for me to swallow.
Straight Fire's trying to get to our fourth topic. Straight Fire, you stay on topic, sir. I will not allow this. All right, so Grant Root said, Lance is super intriguing. I think he needs to sit for a year. I agree. I watched his tape. Dude's only played one season. Are you ready for this ridiculous stat?
Tell me.
In all of his college playing, which was only a year, he threw one interception.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How many games did he play?
I think like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
He only played one game this season, and it was his first interception of college career.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's the only thing I worry about with him, and I mentioned it in my Trey Lance video, which is on the channel. Again, if you're watching this after the stream, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I've got good content. But anyway, in my video for Trey Lance, I had talked about how I worry about him basically not having any experience having like turnovers.
Correct. And bouncing back from that.
Yeah. Dude's young. He's a kid.
He's a big guy, 6'4".
He's a big kid. Yeah, I know. He's big. But I'm saying, like, not having that much, like, having that few interceptions, I feel like doesn't really translate well.
Through the pain. Absolutely. Mike Vick was a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Just running around when there was nothing there, basically. Let's see. We are going to press along here.
In chat. Yeah,
so Busted Knuckles Joe, he says, I think we're going to take a QB. We should just do it at 2 and not play games. Yeah, trading back is very risky. And honestly,
Joe, you going Zach or you going Justin?
He wants Zach. He told us last week.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, he's a Zach Wilson guy. So what I was going to say, though, trading back, I wouldn't do that. Like, we're just talking about it as speculation. It's not really something that we're in agreement with. We would still take quarterback at 2.
You go Deshaun or you take quarterback.
Yes.
Those are the options.
Yep, those are the options. We agree on that one completely. All right, so we're going to the next topic. So, and topic. Sorry.
We are showing off.
Yes. So the next topic is make the case for Sam Darnold. And this is another one where it's kind of like a tough pill to swallow because I don't really believe in Sam Darnold. But I'm going to try to sell it to you guys because that's what this is about. We're just talking right now. We will be hitting free agency topics. Don't worry. And we will take phone calls, by the way. We have our number at the top of the screen. It's in that banner right above us. Just look for the number and give us a call. We will answer and we can talk about stuff that you want to talk about. So topic 3, is make the case for Sam Darnold resurrecting his career with the New York Jets. I don't see that happening, but do you want to go first? I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, let's break it down by his pros and cons as a player, right? Because once we do that, then we can focus on whether those pros can outweigh the cons and actually produce a successful season. So pros for Sam Darnold is he's still young. He's going into his 4th season. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
4th season.
23 years old.
23, yeah, still young, but you almost, because he is so young, you can almost still use his scout card as potential. I don't think he's moved past that point where his scout card is totally unachievable, which was very mobile, and we saw that on that one run play against Houston. Houston. Obviously doesn't always have the best footwork and arm and just throwing motion, but can put the ball pretty good where it needs to be. What do you have?
James DiPietro said, "Move him to guard.
Move him to guard.
Get Darnold to bulk up."
How hilarious would that be? I would love to see them put him at guard just for one.
Darnold's gonna gain 200 pounds. Not even. What would he need? He need about 100 pounds, I guess.
That's right into Jerry Lorenzo. Speaking of, did you see that? Did you see that documentary that they did on Jared Lorenzo?
Lorenzen, you mean?
Oh, Lorenzen.
Yeah, you're good, Jared Lorenzen. Yeah, the hefty
so
lefty.
Sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it's not a happy ending for him.
But yeah, so young, has the natural skill set to do some amazing things. Very mobile, which adds a dynamic to it.
I'm gonna read Grant Root's topic. You can keep mulling it over. Darnold went toe to toe with Rodgers before Gase ruined him. I am not for keeping Darnold. just
no,
making the
I'm
case.
not. Everything I'm saying, this is just for the topic.
Yep, and he's agreeing. He's
Okay.
saying the same thing.
Cons, horrible decision making, questionable play knowledge.
Only the positives when we're making the
I know.
case.
I'm just saying they have to outweigh the cons. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so I laid out the pros. What do you think? Is there anything I missed?
Yeah, maybe just a few things. So he has received inconsistent and poor coaching. So Todd Bowles was his head coach, which I might as well have been his head coach that year because I don't think Todd Bowles was coaching Sam Darnold. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
Like he may have had a few conversations with him, but I'm pretty sure Todd Bowles was pretty heavily involved with the defensive, like game planning and all that stuff. So I don't think that was great coaching. He also had his offensive coordinator living in the mountains the year before he coached Sam Darnold.
That's a good one. I forgot about that.
So yeah, and then after that we get him Adam Gase.
Yeah, he was lovely.
So yeah, bad coaching. I think that's the argument that you could use against getting rid of him.
But with the new coaching staff around him and Joe D, trying to get him tools, do you think his natural talents can produce on the field, or do you think that his footwork and or decision making, which is not subjective to coach? Well, I mean, coaching can enhance it, make it better, make it worse. But does just based on what we saw, does he not necessarily have the physical skill set and the mental skill set to back up his scouting card? I think that's the question.
Yep.
What do you think?
I agree. Yes. I think that with Darnold, it's all about decision making.
Yeah.
It always goes back with that. Like he has talent. We all know he has talent. He can throw the football.
Right. It's
all about decision making now. There are throws that he makes that you can't even believe. Like, why would you throw it where you throw it kind of throws?
100%.
Like, what are you seeing on the field, Sam Darnold, when you make that decision? Like, I just don't get it.
It's always combined with bad footwork for that. For those types of plays, it's horrible footwork.
Joe said it good. He actually was a linebacker in high school before playing.
That's a good point, Joe. That's a good point.
Think about that. Darnold as a linebacker, he actually could do it. If he was bigger.
Yeah, he would really have to put on like 80 pounds.
No, not to be a linebacker.
He had to put on some weight.
About 25 pounds, 30 pounds.
30 pounds, okay.
Because he's already like 215, 220. Give him a little bit more meat on those bones.
I don't think he's 220.
Darnold played high school linebacker, dude. He probably was pretty good at it, I would think. Let's see. So Straight Fire says, make the case for Sam. This is quick. Nope. He can see ghosts on another team. I'm good.
Straight Fire, man.
Yeah, that's perfect. Agreed. I can't really convince the crowd. Nobody's even willing to make a case for him. Here's Grant Reed. He says, I'll help you. He can throw the football, just not deep or on the right team. Okay.
The topic was, what do we need to do for him to resurrect his career?
No, it was just make the case for it, and there's not much of a case, to be honest with you. So
he needs to move on.
The other thing I was going to say, other than coaching, was just scheme fit. Like, the Gase system was really good for Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning was a more intermediate to deep quarterback. He liked to throw down the field. I feel like Sam Darnold is not that quarterback. Like, he should be, like, rolling out, like, at least 5 to 7 times a game. Like, he should be rolling out on a lot of these plays, and they just don't do it. And they did it in his rookie year. They were moving him quite a bit more than what they did, obviously, under Gase. And Gase's system, I mean, we can sit here all night. Gase sucked. Darnold sucked. But Gase is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
His offense was so goddamn awful to watch.
Really bad.
I mean, really, really bad. Really bad. So that's my final argument. We can move on from this topic. People aren't feeling the Darnold topic, and I'm cool with that. So Jets Wire official, thank you for coming back, brother.
What's up, man?
Good to see you in the chat. He says, do you think JD will make an attempt to get Galladay? I'm happy to talk free agency. Let's do it.
Let's get into it.
Galladay. You know who Kenny Galladay is?
Oh, yeah.
Dude's a stud. So
I have
a video of Kenny Galladay on my channel. This is a physical animal.
Yep.
6'4".
Do you have his stats?
Physical, or you mean like his stats?
Yeah, his actual.
You can Google him. Go ahead.
Yeah,
here's the thing: Kenny Galladay is. I don't even need the stats to talk about him, but we can use the stats.
Go ahead.
Kenny Galladay is probably one of the best go up and get it wide receivers in the National Football League. He might not be the best wide receiver, and I don't think he's in probably the top 8 to 10 wide receivers. I don't think I would put him in that class, but he's right outside of it.
Yeah.
He's close. And the dude is all physicality. He gets up there. Read his stats. You could go.
No, I'm looking at it.
He had one really good year and then he got hurt.
183 receptions.
No, that's not right.
Oh, it's career stats. I'm looking at.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's no way he got 181. Oh, we got a new member in here. Welcome, Cliff Hopkins.
What's going on, man?
It's good to see you,
Here we
sir.
go.
Are you guys fans of Corey Davis from Tennessee? He's a stud. Well, we didn't finish talking about Galladay.
Here we go. I'm sorry.
We're going to go back to the Galladay thing, and then we'll get to your comments.
20 receptions, 338 yards.
Rookie year?
No, this is 2020 season.
Oh, yeah, because he got hurt.
Right, correct. 16.9 average yards.
Just read the big stats, like receptions and
sorry.
yards and touchdowns.
Oh, you know, like you said, he was hurt. So 2 touchdowns. No fumbles.
What the hell are you reading over there? Just look at his goddamn touchdown.
I'm looking at it. It was 2 touchdowns.
All right.
There
Good
you go.
stat poll.
You asked me to look up his 2020 stats.
All
I'd
right.
rather read you his 2019 stats, which was 1,100 yards,
There you go.
18.3 average
Now you're
yards per
reading.
carry, or yards per receiving. Longest was a 75-yard touchdown, 11 touchdowns.
There you
total
go.
for the
There you go.
year.
11 touchdowns. Yep.
His 2018 season.
You don't need to keep reading his
I'm
stats.
just gonna say he had 2 back-to-back pretty awesome seasons. He had 1,000 yards in 18, 1,100 yards in 19.
Yes.
Touchdowns in 18 were 5 in 18 and 11 in 19.
The point to make with him is like if he's healthy, he's a freak and he's good. He's never going to be one of those guys that's going to burn you with his speed. Like that's not Kenny Galladay's game. He is good straight line speed. That's not the point. It's more about a route running thing with him. He's not going to he's not going to drop your jaw with his route running ability. Like he's a more fight through the contact kind of dude. He's going to go up and get it.
Right.
And so am I in favor of Kenny Galladay? To answer the original question, the answer is yes. I would absolutely go after Kenny Galladay, but ahead of him, and this might upset some of you, I actually want to sign Curtis Samuel more than Kenny Galladay. I am a huge believer in Curtis Samuel. He has not been given nearly enough targets, and he makes plays. He's a big-time athlete. He's super fast, explosive with the ball in his hands. He can do all the jet sweeps. He can line up at running back. He can line up as an outside wide receiver. You can literally move him in an entire formation all over the place. Outside, inside, slot, running back. You can do anything with him.
Do you have him or Galladay over Juju?
Would I have him over Galladay and Juju? So I do have him over Galladay, and yes, I do have him over Juju.
Really?
The only other guy that I had above Curtis Samuel was Allen Robinson.
They tagged him.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay is good too. Don't get me wrong, but like again, we're a young team. I want to invest in young players. I don't want to invest in people who aren't going to be here for a long time for our next quarterback. Like that's the one thing you're going to have with Kenny Galladay. He's only going to be there for like what 3 seasons max, probably.
He's going into his 4th, I think.
Yeah, but he's an older player. I think he's 28 this year. So yeah, the answer to your question, I absolutely would go after Kenny Galladay. I would try to consider getting Curtis Samuel ahead of him. I'm really high on Samuel. You guys can criticize me all you want. I can take it. Let's see.
Give him hell.
So Grant Rude says, I think Galladay is what Mims will be this year. No need for 2 of them. I like him, but why? And that's a great point. Mims is our physical go up and get it guy. And he proved that in his rookie year, even though he had limited targets as well. Let's see. So it says, think with the head coach and not the heart. Or excuse me, think with the head and not the heart. We did him wrong, but we are starting over. Yes, I would agree. We have to move on. This is still from the same conversation. Grant Rude, thank you. I love Curtis Samuel. He is probably my number 2 target in free agency. I think Joe Tooney is probably number 1 right now for the Jets. Curtis Samuel, and then a pass rusher. Get a pass rusher, please.
I was disappointed that Washington tagged Brandon Scherf. I really thought that was going to pan out for us.
I prefer Joe Tooney over Brandon Scherf.
After watching your video, I definitely changed my opinion. But
Joe Tooney's never missed a start. Joe Tooney is an Iron Man. He is a guard Iron Man. He can come in and bring stability.
Yeah.
We need that so
Well,
badly.
especially because our line had suffered injury problems, didn't it?
The guard position, we just were terrible.
Okay.
I mean, we did. Makai Beckham missed some time.
Right.
Fan, I think, missed a game or two. But really, it was just inside. We were suffering bad. And
Right through.
if we can get a guard in there to help the inside of that pocket
Right.
for our quarterback,
Especially
yes.
if it's Zach. Imagine having Joe Thuney.
It's Tooney, but it's
Oh,
okay.
Tooney, sorry.
So Joe Tooney, he's known for his pass block. Like that's what that's his game.
Well,
It's like he's a
how
pass
exciting
blocker.
to have that with like Zach behind center.
For sure. With Tooney, you just don't want to go crazy and give him a 5-year deal, but he's probably going to want that kind of a contract. So it's a little bit risky with him. He's, I think, 28 or 9.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say. I thought
He's getting closer to 30. I don't know his age for sure. You guys in the chat, you guys can look up his age, and I'll put it up
here.
there.
So what with Joe Tooney's age and the season he's going into.
So this is a good point. And CJK, thanks for coming back, man. We remember you from previous chats. Thanks for coming back. So CJK says your acting like Galladay is amazing. Philip III, he is a number 2 on a good team.
Joe
He's
Tooney?
talking about I'm assuming he's talking about Galladay right now. I could be wrong on that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, CJ2K. I'm pretty sure you're talking about Galladay.
I think with Galladay, it all depends on the deal too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I appreciate people backing me up on this. I have no problem. Like, here's the thing. Like, everybody who's out there, whoever gets like hot about these debates, like, here's the thing.
You get
Football, not like, as fans, like, it's cool to have a disagreement. Like, I think that's the best part about being in sports and like involved in sports is having those disagreement conversations. Like,
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, think about how many we've had with our own family.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And I just feel like...
It's about winning.
Like, that's the thing. We all want to win. Exactly. And, like, that's the thing. Like, I think Curtis Samuel's the best fit, but if you sell me on Galladay...
We're winning.
Yeah, I just want to win football games. And listen, if I was wrong on all of my fucking predictions this season and we're winning... Good fucking luck. I could care less.
Please continue to watch.
Couldn't care less. If we are winning, I will be right here in front of you still. I could care less if I'm wrong. So I hope you guys are understanding of that. So let's see. Yeah, Busted Knuckles is agreeing here. Give me Tooney all day over Scherf. He's super steady. The guy never misses time or gets penalized. I hope you watched my video on Scherf.
Scherf's no joke, though.
Scherf is no joke. He's very good.
100%.
But there are flags with him, though. Red flags.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's Joe referenced it because it's on my channel. I'm pretty sure Joe watched my video on Joe Tooney and Brandon Scherf.
Of course.
Brandon Scherf has way more penalties. Probably 3 times the amount of penalties that Joe Tooney has.
Yeah, but how much of that is him as a player versus the Washington football team?
No. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Oh, whatever.
It does not. That's not a reflection. Offensive line is different, man. You look at the analytics side of football.
If he was getting blown up all the time.
No way. Brandon Scherf's red flags are penalties and injuries.
I'm not saying he's not a penalty prone player. I'm just saying, was it exaggerated by the fact that he was on a Washington football team?
No, because he's a really good football player.
No, I'm agreeing with you. But in terms of you're dogging him for these penalties.
I am. That's one of the main things as offensive lineman.
I'm giving you a counter case to it.
An offensive.
So you wanted to fight on stream.
I do, and I'm glad we're finally arguing. Listen, you're wrong about this because just let me, and then I'll give you free speech.
I'm listening.
He's getting penalized. Offensive linemen, they are the ones with the most infractions on offenses in general.
Okay.
If you can get an offensive lineman to have less penalties because of a position that generally causes them on offense pre-snap, or even during the play with holding and all that other stuff.
Right.
It's a huge benefit. You're not losing yards.
I'm not disagree with you, but what I'm saying is I don't think you can put that scarlet letter on him right now. I would need to go back and look at all his seasons and seeing what
I watched. You gotta watch the videos on the channel, motherfucker, because I broke that shit down. I have his whole career. Yeah, there you go. This is what I'm gonna say to you. Game over. Listen, I broke it down. He has more penalties over his career than Joe Tooney, and they've been playing for about the same amount of time.
I totally agree with you.
But I'm going to give you a kudo here. You ready?
Yeah, give me it.
Brandon Scherf is a more dominant offensive lineman. When he is healthy, he is the better offensive lineman, but that does not mean that he's the smart buy in free agency.
Okay. Who's older, Joe Tooney or?
They're about the same age. They're about the same age. I don't know exactly. I think it's like within a year.
Well, we don't have to worry about it because his ass was tagged. So
let's see here. Cliff Hopkins. Sam's cap number is cheap. Do you think Sam is better than Wilson or Fields? If so, keep him. So that's the only thing that Joe Douglas has to decide is if he still values Sam Darnold within range of these guys. I would see that that's a possibility, but I just don't think that Joe Douglas is going to evaluate it that way.
Is there a scenario where they have Sam and Zach?
No. Okay. No, that will never happen. That will never happen. That would be so messed up for them to do that to Sam Darnold.
But to make him compete?
It wouldn't be a competition, dude. They would never. No, it's not even like Zach Wilson is superior. It's like the media will be riding him.
This is like a Philadelphia situation.
Sam, how does it feel to have the Jets draft a quarterback at number 2 overall?
Sucks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of questions he'd have, though. Yeah.
Oh, you'd be dealing with that all season.
It would be so screwed up to do that.
But maybe that'd be like Grant said. That would be like tough love.
We watched the ding. I have a feeling we end up signing Juju. I do too. And I have ignored Juju all offseason. I didn't do a free agent profile. I don't want Juju, man.
Why?
Juju is just barely good enough to the point where people are like, I am interested in you. And he is young.
He's very young.
But all that dumb shit he does, like dancing around and a TikTok thing like that.
Robert Saleh?
I don't know if it would matter because Mike Tomlin's a hard ass.
Yeah, but Mike looks like he's lost his edge.
I don't agree with that at all. Mike Tomlin's a great head coach. Man.
No, I'm not saying he's not a good head coach, but as far as his demeanor on the team, I don't know. That's a really bold speculation. I'm just saying.
Anyway, my stance on Juju is he is a good football player, and if they signed him, I think I'd be okay with it. But I wouldn't be like jumping for joy necessarily. I think it would just depend on the cost.
I think you'd be excited depending on who's behind center though. If you knew you had Juju and Zach.
Some people think if they sign Juju in free agency, that's a sign that they're going to keep Sam. It's almost like they're trying to build around him if they do that, you know?
Interesting. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's guaranteed to happen like that. I think you could still see a massive free agent move even with a new quarterback.
Robbie Oak, good comment. Juju is all about Juju. Been awful since he lost AB, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Is like he was a beast on that one season he had with Antonio Brown on the other side. It was one-on-ones all game long. That was
AB's last season with the Pit.
And you really can't take that season away from Juju. That's not really what I'm trying to do. But the point is he hasn't hit those marks that he had that year.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he had like 1,400 yards and like 12 touchdowns that year. So Juju beasted that year. Nobody's going to take that away from him because he still did it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't come close to those. I think he's been just barely over 1,000 the last 2 years, which is good.
That's a good point where he was seeing that success because AB split in the defense.
If he kept hitting 1,400 yards, yes, he'd be a stud and a star.
Yeah. Anything in chat?
So Philip III, he says, if they release Crowder is the only way they sign Juju. And that's kind of what I've been suggesting with Curtis Samuel. When you sign Curtis Samuel, that is an option.
To cut the Juju?
No, to cut Crowder.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because then, again, you're potentially getting more explosive and more versatile at the slot.
Right.
This is why I love Samuel. He changes the offense, man. You get a more explosive player that you can move in the slot, but he doesn't have to be there every play.
Right.
Who's to say Denzel Mims might not be decent in the slot? Like, we don't know. Put him out there.
Interesting experiment. Yeah, I like that.
Dude, Denzel's tall, big, and he's kind of fast. Like, that could be interesting. Like, I mean, put him out there and let him get like a mismatch. Maybe there's a smaller DB on him in the slot, and he can kind of just power move him basically.
Oh,
so that's what Curtis Samuel could do, and those are the things that he cannot do. Crowder's not really going to do jet sweeps.
And there's a lot of articles trying to justify why the Jets keep Crowder, but
I think they need to keep him if they don't sign somebody like Curtis Samuel. They can't cut they can't cut
Robbie Oak.
yeah.
You can't cut him.
I can't even talk. They should not cut Jamison Crowder unless they have a replacement for him.
Yeah.
They can't cut him and just be like, yeah, that's okay. So Cliff Hopkins, yes, I am in favor of keeping him, but if we can replace him for a younger player, a more fast player, that's the route that I'm taking. It's just interesting to think about. Let's see. Philip III says, keep Crowder. Juju can act a fool somewhere else. I would agree. I do not want that at all. And then he's agreeing that Samuel is a do-it-all receiver for sure.
You're convincing minds about Curtis Samuel.
He is probably my most successful video aside from my pass rush video.
Which is crazy. Can you give them the background of that? If you go look at the videos, the most dominating in terms of views happen to be a pass defense.
It was pass rushers.
Oh, pass rusher. I'm sorry.
But it was a long time ago. And I got like over 1,300 views on it. I don't know why. It was just random. But anyway, the Curtis Samuel video has 0 dislikes. Yeah. And I think a lot of people saw the reasons that I highlighted why he's such an intriguing option for this team. I mean, he really fits the offense really nicely. Yeah, that's the thing that I keep talking about is like our offense lacked motion under Gase. Like everybody talked about it. Like there was like we had the least amount of motion pre-snap in the entire NFL.
Right.
So you get somebody who's worth putting in motion, somebody that could take a jet sweep. I mean, that's deadly. Because if you've seen that, that's like one of the new offensive elements in the NFL right now. It's in vogue is to have receivers jetting in front of the quarterback, and then they go into a pass route.
100%.
Like if they're not receiving that, they are in an offensive route. Like they're not just running sideways and then going to the sideline to get a drink. Like they're doing something after that fake.
Right.
So I just feel
separation.
like you're creating situations for the defense where they have to be laterally sound.
Yeah, they have to be fast.
And you're spreading the defense out. And so what happens is you do those jet sweeps. Defensive ends cannot just come crashing inside for a pass rush move.
Right.
And it's all kinds of stuff that schematically it changes the whole dynamic. And that's why I'm
big on curves.
All the fingers, all the toes, they're all crossed, man, because it changes things. And I will be so fired up. I mean, I will be crushing something.
Assuming that they use him, they maximize him.
Yeah.
That's the caveat.
James DiPietro, and again, it's in the video. I show game tape of him actually taking handoffs as a running back. Like he had 200 rushing yards, guys. He had 800 receiving yards. Like that's a weapon. We have nothing like that on our offense.
No, we have no explosiveness at all.
Nothing like that. And again, give Crowder all the credit. He's a very good slot receiver, and that's why I'm not cutting him unless we get this man.
Right.
Because he truly changes things. All right. I don't want to go into a Curtis Samuel boner fest for too long here. Yeah, James DiPietro, sorry. He kept me on topic. He's from Brooklyn. That was another thing I saw.
Gotta love the heritage.
Dude, he's like 24. He's going to be 25 this season.
Dude, he's got a huge career ahead of him.
Yes, I just love him. Sign Samuel, the wide receiver who plays running back, then draft Gainwell, the running back who plays wide receiver. Robbie Oak, I don't know if you're being serious or if you're being funny. You got to tell me, are you saying you do not like Curtis Samuel? Because if you don't, I need to hear it. All right.
He's going to bite your head off.
We're going to the next topic. Next topic is topic 4. What players are you avoiding in free agency? Players you do not want. We kind of talked about Juju, so that kind of blends us into this. I have a couple of names written down.
Yeah, go with yours first.
So one name that I will throw. Where do I find y'all on Twitter? Come on, man.
Yeah.
What's the handle on this channel? It's at NYJ Today, brother. Yeah. Come at me on Twitter, brother. At NYJ Today. That's it. I'm on Twitter quite a bit, actually. I think that's probably my favorite social media platform. I feel like a lot of people are pretty knowledgeable, actually, on Twitter. And there was a dude that I was talking to about Darnold. He was like a Sam apologist. But he like started to come at me, kind of.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I was like, I was like I tried to like change the tone of the conversation because that's just the kind of person I am. But
neutralize it.
yeah,
De-escalate it.
and like I wanted to have a discussion with him,
Right.
and I got him to have it, but at first he was kind of like kept his guard up, kind of thing.
He was aggressive.
Not aggressive, but just like basically like, trying to like down talk it, like saying how stupid it would be to move on from Darnold.
What was his case?
His case was the Jets suck, basically. Like they're a bad football team.
So he didn't give him a shot. I'm so tired of that freaking excuse.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, Twitter King. My wife is agreeing. I am a Twitter King. This is true. Let's see.
Michelle, go to bed.
We got. Are you guys excited for free agency? Yes, we are excited for.
Hell yeah!
So, throw out player names that you are interested in. We can definitely hit them in the chat, guys. If you're in the chat right now, or if you're watching this right now live,
chat thing. Let's see some names on there.
lay the list. Fill the list with players you want, players you don't want.
Let's start with what we don't want. Start with what you don't want.
So I have a name, and I'm going to mention him too. Is this man right here, Will Fuller, from the Houston Texans. So I don't want anything to do with him. And some people, I mean, it's not some people, a report came out that the Jets would be very interested in him in free agency.
What?
So
are we worried?
I would be worried if they paid him like a wide receiver too.
Damn.
I would be worried. So if Joe Douglas goes out and he spends $12 million on Will Fuller for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, I'd be concerned then. Then I would be worried because then that would be a free agent that really I don't believe we can count on for 16 games. It's just not practical to count on Will Fuller to play all 16 games. He's just not going to do it here. Yeah, Robbie Oak, yeah, she comes in every once in a while. She keeps an eye on me to make sure I'm not misbehaving. He said the boss is here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Life boss.
So, yeah, Will Fuller freaks me out because I feel like that does smell like a Joe Douglas kind of move because he was hot for who was the Raiders receiver they drafted?
From
Ruggs?
Yeah, Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs, yeah. I feel like Ruggs is a Joe Douglas kind of guy too, like because he was salivating apparently for him last draft.
I totally agree with that.
That was a hot rumor is that Joe Douglas wanted him really badly. So I feel like Will Fuller has that Joe Douglas stink to it. And I do not want Will Fuller. Not at all.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I think we should avoid signing Aaron Jones. And guess what? Jets Wire official. He is on my list. Aaron Jones. And I know there's probably two main reasons why we should avoid Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Money.
He's going to want a shit ton of money.
Because that's what running backs have to do.
Oh, 100%.
And running back position, I ain't overspending for a running back in free agency ever again. Because that Le'Veon Bell shit blew up in our face so bad. I mean, it was a disaster. And again, I don't really hate on Le'Veon Bell. Because I think he really did try. And I think that he just was... The time off was not good for him, I don't think.
No.
Because he came back and he was on the Chiefs offense and he wasn't really popping anything. So,
I mean, is there any free agent running back that you're excited about?
yeah, no, I mean, Jets Wire, that's what we were getting to. He's going to want money and he plays the running back position, dude. I don't want to spend on a running back. That's too scary, man.
Yeah,
I mean, gets injured and running backs
It's not really a running back league anymore.
It's a running back league, but you don't pay for running backs. You get them in the draft and then you move on.
You got Kamara, but it's not as dominant as it was in 2010.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So yeah, Jamal Williams, I would imagine, is what he's talking about. Yeah, Jamal Williams would be a guy I would be interested in, actually. He was the backup to Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Only 26 years old. And I don't think there's a huge market for Jamal Williams. I don't think people are going to be like clamoring for him. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think his market's pretty middling, I should say. Probably like a $4 million, $5 million cap hit for the year, I would think. So yeah, I would say Jamal Williams is definitely interesting. And you also threw out another name. Yeah, Chris Carson from Seattle. He gets hurt a lot, so we would need to have a good backup. But maybe that's what LaMichael Pirine can be. Is he can be our backup running back, and that would be okay, I think. I like Jones, but yeah, too much money. And yeah, Aaron Jones is a freak, man. He can move and he can break tackles. He is one of the best running backs after contact. And it's weird because he's so small.
Right.
because he's only like 210 or 205.
Yeah,
Like he's
something
really
crazy.
small.
Yeah.
But he's so good at breaking tackles. Like, it's crazy. He's so elusive, too. He says, if you're serious about seeing why to keep Sam, watch the Let's Talk Jets radio podcast, Caller of the Week. Worth the flight, lays it out perfectly. Best I've seen. Fair,
check
nice,
that out.
and nice plug. I will have to check that out, Robbie. Thanks for throwing that in there. He says, do you think there's any chance we pick a running back at 23? No!
Let's get into that.
I don't want to do that. Before we talk about 23 at running back, and I can write that down, but I do not want to skip on this players in free agency that we want to avoid. So another player that I'm going to throw out there is Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh, 100%.
So Jadeveon Clowney is a clown. I feel like he's overrated.
Oh, 100%. He's living off his name.
Yeah, he did not do anything with Seattle when they traded for him. And then he really didn't do anything for the Titans last year, as far as I know. I mean, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know.
He
But
had, like, certain spurts of talent.
yeah, but he's one of those dudes, just a little bit overrated. I'm going to pass on him all day. He also gets hurt. Kyle Rudolph, they released him, the Minnesota Vikings. He's getting too old. I would not invest in him. I would get somebody younger. Jonnu Smith is a name that people really are excited about at tight end.
But AJ Green?
Nope.
Nope. Same way.
He's 33 years old. He can go to like a team that's on like the cusp of a playoff thing, or like maybe a team on the run like a Chiefs. Like that would be interesting on the Chiefs because they could sign him dirt cheap. You are wrong. Maybe not about this, but many, many things.
Who said that?
Phil, I'm not sure what he's talking about though.
Past his bedtime too.
Yeah. Patrick Peterson, a cornerback from the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not interested in signing him.
How old is he?
He's 31, I think.
He's got to be older than that.
I don't think he is. But Patrick Peterson's not played as good as he once was. Like, he's definitely on the decline. He's available. I don't think Joe Douglas is going to want to hitch his wagon to somebody like that. But I would not go after him. He's just a name at this point. And then Tyler Eifert is a tight end as well. I kind of already laid it out there, but like Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, and honestly, even the guy from Green Bay, his name's not in my head right now, but basically, I would go over any of those guys before.
I like Jared Cook sitting out there.
Yeah, he's a little old though, 34 years old.
Just consistent.
Yep. So they released John Brown. The Bills released him today. He would be a depth guy. I mean, he was good on the Bills. I mean, I think he had like a couple hundred yards at least, like a 600, 800-yard season. So, yeah, you could convince me of that. I would love him as like a third or a fourth wide receiver on the team. Just depends on, again, what happens because the Jets have money right now. And I do think they're going to try to add a wide receiver. I really do. It could be a Galladay. It could be a Curtis Samuel. It could be a Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they will get one of those three.
Could be Jamar Chase.
That's a draft pick.
I know,
but,
it's a draft pick.
But you're right, though. All right. Let's see. Would you guys be surprised if we don't sign Richard Sherman? Oops, clicked on the wrong thing.
Me and John talked about that. We actually liked the idea. I don't know if that was contingent on us taking Farley or whether that was just to be with Bryce.
I would love to have him on the team.
I think just think about Richard Sherman's just mentoring ability. I think that's where John and I don't know if you still feel the same, but I do think that there's ancillary benefit to him just playing. And I think that's what we got going.
We'll never forget this because I got a caller. Hold on. We got a live call in.
Oh man.
What am I so wrong about?
You said, tell me if I'm wrong.
Tell me if I'm wrong about what?
You can tell him he's
We're
on.
talking about Clowney.
Clowney is a joke.
Yeah. Are you going to defend him?
No.
Oh. Do you know you're on the stream?
Yeah, you're on the stream right now. Do you want to like spit fire real quick or something?
You know, listen to this shit. I can play my flute the whole night.
Okay. We'll move on from that. Sherman would mentor our secondary so well.
Oh
yes, agreed. It would be awesome to have him.
What's wrong with that kid?
I don't know. Richard Sherman would be awesome. He would be able to do wonders with Bryce Hall. Could really do a good job of coaching and mentoring him. So I absolutely would love that. Yeah, Grant Rood, good point. And this is actually what I was laughing at earlier.
Look at Robbie.
Philip, were you here for the live stream with Sewell at 2?
I never said
Man.
that. I never said that.
Thank you, Grant.
Who put out there? Someone else said to trade back for a tackle. Who was that? I think that was James DiPietro.
Yeah, it was James DiPietro. He says Tanyan, tight end from Green Bay. Yeah, that was the tight end that I was thinking of. He'd be great. I mean, he's a big dude. He can run down the field pretty nicely. I would say absolutely. If we miss out on Jonnu or if we miss out on Hunter Henry, I'm all in favor of that.
That Phil shit made me laugh. Oh my God.
Giants release Zietler. He's a guard. He can be a good veteran on the right side. Won't be that expensive. Yes, this is the kind of move we can make because we have so much money. And there are veterans available like this that have been cut now on teams. There's a lot of good players out there.
100%.
This is one of the best free agencies of our lifetime.
That
It is.
of our lifetime?
Yes. Yes.
Past and future?
Chat, tell me I'm wrong. Go at me. I 100% back that up. This is one of the best, if not the best, free agency class of my lifetime. I'm 36 years
Past and
old.
future? Was that what you're saying? Our lifetime? I don't think
I'm talking about our past,
up to
asshole.
now.
It's one of the best free
I'm trying
agency.
to think. I'm trying to think back about free agencies. I remember there were some pretty big ones, like the Peyton Manning free agency when he went to the Broncos.
When he went to the Broncos? Peyton Manning? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a huge signing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when you say,
But that's one player.
I know, but I think there was other players involved. In
I
the
need
free
the
agency.
chat on this one. I'm not going to discuss this with this man.
Yeah, I want to hear other people's opinions.
This is
but
one of
that's
the
a bold
greatest
statement.
free agent classes of all time, without a doubt. There's more good veteran players out there right now than there has ever been at any time that I've been
I'm not saying
alive.
this is a top 10 free agent class. I'm just saying best of our lifetime. Yeah, I think that through.
So yeah, Robbie Oaks comments on this. He says, "Yeah, Zietler was owed $14 million this year. That's why they released. He's a good football player. He played for them. He started for them for a good while now. From the Browns, I believe, originally. He would be a starter on our offensive line. There's no doubt.
Right.
Even if he was playing down from what he was at the Giants, he'd be a solid guard. Plug him in at right guard, like Straight Fire, I believe, said." And then you can draft a left guard. You can sign a left guard. I don't know, man. There's a lot of choices in this free agency.
It's exciting. And
Yeah,
it's
so Robbie
it's-
Oak, he's coming to my defense a little bit here. He says a lot of players being cut because lower salary cap. Exactly. That's my point. There's more free agents. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
okay,
Here.
well that I agree, but like I
But
thought
makes
you were
it
going
great.
talent to talent.
That's what makes it great.
No,
though,
I
because
get
there's
that, but that's
such
a different
deep
perspective.
pool.
I'm gonna fight you again. I'm gonna fight you right here on the street.
It's a very deep pool.
That
of
was different
talent.
than you saying this is the best talent we've seen in our lifetime. This is a prime opportunity because of the situation.
My statement goes along with what I just said. It's one of the deepest classes of free agency we've ever had in our lifetime, and that's what makes it great.
Okay, again, another point of clarification. Deepest set of class of free agents, I also agree with. But like just like rock star talent that's sitting out there,
There's a lot of good
there's
players.
got some players, but I wouldn't say it's the best of our lifetime.
Look at the list of receivers, offensive linemen
I looked
available.
at the list.
There's a really good depth of talent, and tight ends got good players. It's a very, very good free agency class, so I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. Some people are talking about the pick at number 2. We're going to skip over that for now. I'm good to move on as well. I'm going to get that button here, a little hit. This is topic 5. Topic 5 says, should the Jets consider trading up into the first round with either pick number 23 or 34? This is a long question, so just bear with me here. Pick 23 and pick 34. Would you use those picks or one of those picks to trade up? So there's a lot of options with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the follow-up question is would you package also, would you consider this move, trading and taking the combo of the 2 third-round picks
Trade up.
and trading up into the second-round pick? Now, again, this is all speculative. I'm not a person that generally believes that trading up is a good thing because you're losing picks, you're losing assets. But it's worth discussing because this is a pretty good draft.
I think that's where I'm at, which is it's TBD based on how the draft's rolling at that point. I mean, that's a little bit of a cop out,
No, it's not. Keep going.
But I really don't think the Jets really start to really. I think they plan for it. I don't think they seriously start to consider that unless we see talent start to fall where you could be in grasp if you were to make the trade of the 34 and the 23. Like, I don't know who would be. You know, it also depends on what you do with the second. So it's depending on what they do with the second and how the draft's going. Because someone said about Mac being there, in which case, you know, depending on what we did at 2,
Yep.
and if it makes sense to go after a quarterback that's falling. I mean, I don't. Was it Phil?
No, we got a caller.
All right, go ahead.
Someone actually with a brain. All right, here we go. Welcome to NYJ today. Who we got the pleasure of talking to?
What's going on, guys? Straight fire.
Yo, straight fire. What's going on, man? 2 weeks in a row. We're happy to hear from you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Love your show. You just brought up the topic. I want to talk about the whole trade-up scenario. If I may, I won't be long. If I may.
Dude, go. We're giving you the floor. This is your time right now.
Preach, man.
All right, let's check this out. In a way, I'm not all for moving up in the draft just because you guys know Joe Douglas. He is advantageous about keeping these picks. He doesn't want to trade them. And the problem with trading up, even though there's going to be a lot of good players, you're going to have to give up that premium 34th pick. So essentially, you're going to give up the 23rd. You're going to give up the 34th. And you're probably going to have to give up one of your 5th-round picks. For a team that has so many holes like we have, adding more value makes more sense. Yeah. I'm actually hoping, if anything, they trade down from 23 with a needy team that wants a receiver. Then we could pick up an additional 3rd or an additional 4th, because I feel like Joe Ducker's got something up his sleeve when it comes to adding that. And I think he's going to add 2 big-time playmakers, maybe to Samuel, and I think he's going to end up getting that receiver. So, again, trading up to 23, I'm not a fan of because of the value. It's just not going to be there. But trading down will make more sense because, man, we could just add depth pieces later in the round from the 4th on to the 7th. And that's where you make the crux of it. GMs make their best cases to keep their jobs with their own picks later in the rounds. So that's where I'm saying, like, I'm all for it if the value is there, but trading down to me makes more sense. I'll let you go, guys.
Bro, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the call, dude. Have a great night.
Totally agree.
Thank you so much, Straight Fire. We appreciate the call. So listen, there's no argument at all from us. So I want to make sure that's very clear to everybody. We are not suggesting some crazy trade up. Like, we're saying, is it potentially something that could be interesting? And again, it's all speculative. I would much prefer to do exactly what he's saying. Trade back from 23. If you're going to do anything, trade back.
Right.
I still think they should stay at 23 and pick a player. But I'm all for, if they're going to move, just make sure you're moving back. Don't trade up.
Right.
The only scenario where I'm thinking they may trade up is if they don't take a Wilson at 2, which I don't think is, I think that's a stretch at this point. But if they didn't take him at 2.
Go for Chase and Pitts.
No. God almighty. So that's where, yes.
How crazy would that be?
So if the Jets took, again, this is
I saw what Zach.
This is all. This is why we're talking about this, because if they traded back from 2 and took Chase,
right,
and then used the picks that they got from trading back or using different picks to trade up with 23,
dude, they could
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
That would be
Jamar
insane.
Chase on the wide receivers position, along with Denzel Mims and Crowder in the slot, or maybe fucking Curtis Samuel, again, just throwing it out there.
There it is.
And then you can trade up from 23 and perhaps land Kyle Pitts.
That would be insane.
I'm not saying we should do that. Just again, I'm throwing that out there. But that's a crazy scenario. You have bona fide talent at 2 very major positions. But the problem is we don't have our quarterback. We have Sam Darnold. So,
I mean, but he would have more weapons and he would know what to do with.
He would have a lot of young weapons, and that's where it gets interesting, and that's why it's worth the conversation, I think.
It's exciting. It's a very exciting draft. I hope you guys come in and tune in for the draft. We'll be streaming. There'll be probably a little debauchery.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mess. We're gonna be drunk that night for sure. I will have more than 1 or 2 beers that night.
Let's go. Let's get it going.
Yeah. So the trading up proposition for Pitts is very interesting, but again, I still think you could make the case if they took Wilson at 2.
Where do you think Fields lands?
Hold on a second. I was mid-sentence there. If they take Wilson at 2, and again, not saying they should do this, but just again, wrap your head around the fact that if they traded up from 23 for Kyle Pitts, like let's say Kyle Pitts slips into the early teens.
Right.
What if he's there at 13?
Right.
That could be worth it. I'm not saying that it will be or that they should do it. It's just, that's an interesting situation.
Depends on how the draft's going. That's why I go back to my preface.
And again, I'm very excited about the idea of trading back as well. You're getting more assets. It's not as sexy, but it is a good move, and it's a smart move to make.
Where do they have Justin
I'm
landing?
going to let you do that as soon as I read this comment because it was interesting. And he just said, Robbie Oak, there's so many draftees in the 3rd and 4th rounds that I want. And that's the argument that you can make, that there's talent that's deep in this draft. It's not just a 1-round draft. It's a 7-round draft, and there are targets all over the place.
Amen.
And great comment to make. And again, that's the argument against trading up, is that you are missing out on these guys who have serious potential in the mid-rounds.
Right.
So it says right here by Robbie Oak. He says, none of us are married to any option because only Joe D knows what's best for us.
There's the Joe D fandom.
Listen, man, I'm all about Joe D, supporting him because, again, I feel like he has to have he's working on his plan and he has to have an idea of what he is leaning towards. Like, he hasn't made his final decision because it's not time to do that yet.
Right.
But in his mind, he's probably got a plan fleshed out.
Oh, he has a war board, a war room, whatever.
A war room for the draft, but I'm talking about an off-season war room.
Oh, no, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. I am convinced that they have these guys ranked in the free agency pool.
100%.
And as soon as they get news of a new guy getting cut, boom, they are making plans right on the fly, and they are adjusting their rankings. And that's the stuff that gets me excited. Joe Douglas is a meticulous guy. He learned under Ozzie Newsome. He learned under Howie Roseman from the Eagles. These guys were good. These are good GMs that he learned under. So that's why people are so interested in him. Welcome back. We got another viewer checking in. It is Sean Bennett. Sean Bennett, welcome to the chat.
Sean's been here before.
Cheers to you, sir. Happy Wednesday. We are loving...
Good to see you again, man.
Loving life here. So Sean Bennett says it's totally not sexy trading back, but it is something worth. It is worth doing. It's just a matter of what Joe D has in mind. So he says, you trade down and you pick whom. I'm not okay with Ghost seeing Darnold. Agreed. We don't want Darnold.
No, the chat was overwhelming on that.
And we are overwhelming.
Yeah.
We want to move on from Darnold. It's a matter of how and who are we replacing him with. Again, I still lean towards the Wilson trade. Or Wilson pick, excuse me. Did you want to say something about Justin earlier? I thought you said...
Well, I just was curious where we thought Justin was landing.
You mean Fields?
Yeah, I mean, is he going to be an Aaron Rodgers situation?
There is a lot of talk about him possibly slipping in the draft. I mean, it's still pretty early because, again, free agency hasn't happened. Sam Darnold hasn't been traded. We don't know where he's going or if he's staying with the Jets and they're building around him. So the QB position is not even resolved in the National Football League. So it's hard to know where he's going to end up.
Yeah.
I would say probably...
I can see him slipping. I can see that.
Probably a little bit, but not a drastic fall. I think he's nowhere. He's not going to fall past probably the Broncos. Like, there's no way.
No, I agree. What's the Broncos pick? 12?
I think they're 9. I think the Broncos are 9. But yeah, there's teams ahead of them even that could take a quarterback. The Panthers, they're very interested in a quarterback. I think that might be his floor is Carolina. But I don't think I don't know. It's interesting because you could make the case that Atlanta might want Justin Fields.
Oh, absolutely.
Could replace Matt Ryan in a couple of years or in a year maybe. And he's getting older too, so it's interesting. Yeah. All I know is Joe will make us all happy campers draft day. Philip III, that is how I feel, and that's why I'm so excited to do this live.
Break the curse.
I know
Break
you
the
guys are
curse.
probably making
Break the
draft day
curse.
plans, and if you are, it will not offend us, but we are going to stream this mother effer.
I hope you guys can make it.
And again, if you don't watch it with us live, cool. Check it out after because we'll be reacting to it live. I mean, that's going to be happening because we're going to watch it all unfold that draft day night.
Yeah. We don't think we can show the actual draft screen, or else YouTube will take it off. We'll take it off the air. But
Can't be nervous yet, Robbie Oak.
what he said.
He said he's nervous. Don't be nervous. It's too
No,
early.
get excited, man.
We got to know. We have to know what happens in free agency first.
Get excited.
Be excited. That's the thing. Like, I mean, be miserable when they lose. In the off season, this is our season, man. We have to root for this team.
Time. Yeah.
It's a time of optimism. You have to hope for the best. They have a great situation right now. They just need to make the most of it. So,
Moving on.
yeah, we can move on to the next topic. We don't have to do that every time, but I'm pretty fired up about it, so I'm doing it anyway. So, if you're at home wondering why I've hit that a billion times,
Yeah. Sorry if we woke up.
don't sweat it. We're moving on. So, we're going to talk about the favorite tailgating traditions.
Ooh.
Traditions that you have while tailgating. It could be traditions at home that you have where maybe you just throw up the grill and get it fired up. We want to know about your traditions. Basically, pregame is what we're asking. So, do you want to hit this?
Let's see it. So at home, I'll do both. I'll do at home and at the stadium when I am able to. When I was able to go in the past, and hopefully maybe the 21 season might actually be different. We'll see how that turns out with the whole pandemic situation. But I would say at the game, tradition, absolutely. We have the same thing every time we go. It's Italian sausage, peppers and onions, Kaiser roll, grills out, flag goes up, football's out for catch. Not too different than what the other 500,000 people do when they go to the game, but we do make each one of those a necessity, a requirement. So again, we eat the same thing. Italian sausage, you can't beat it at a game, especially when it's hot.
I love spicy Italian
And
sausage.
the game's cold. It's cold outside. Fresh beer. I would say that one of the things we started doing.
Beer and ice is the best thing.
Oh my god, the cooler.
Yeah.
It really doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, beer and ice is the best. Yeah, so mine's not really any different. It's like kind of the same actually, which is kind of weird. But basically, yeah, just like throwing the grill, getting the grill fired up, and putting your jersey on in the morning, watching some pregame.
Jersey going on.
And if you're at the game, you just want to rip somebody's face off, basically. Especially when it's like when the Jets are good. There's nothing better, man. Because I've been to games that are big in my lifetime. Like I've been to some really epic playoff games. I've been to a playoff game, I should say. I've been to games where they've clinched the division or made a playoff spot. So those are some of the best feelings, man. When you're getting ready to get into that game, you're just ready to fucking
It feels like
roar.
you're going on the field.
That is what it feels like. Yes, it's like a pregame warm up kind of thing. Yeah.
And depending on where you are in the stadium parking lot, you have the marching band. The marching band rolls through. It's a pretty awesome experience.
Make love to my wife before every Jets game when I'm home, not at the stadium.
If you're doing it at the stadium, man, you get extra points.
Oh man, that's good.
That's a pretty good tradition. I'm not
That's a
gonna lie.
good one. I do want to go back. So Grant Rude did throw this in the chat. He said Fields over Wilson. So listen, man, there are other people that actually agree with you. So Red, I think it's R Red Sports. He was in the chat earlier and he's talking about it, man. I mean, Fields, some people really feel strongly about him, and that's why I took the time to make a video on him on the channel. I feel like he deserves it. And he does show the talent, man.
Yeah.
Fields is
He's got a cannon.
He's got a cannon. He can uncork deep balls very much like a Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He throws a nice deep ball.
Yeah.
With him, it's all mental. It's all about, can you make reads? And again, that might be something that Joe Douglas is like, you know what? Our coaches are good enough.
We'll take
We
that
can
challenge.
surround him. We can build around him and make him learn the football, like learn how to play football, basically. Like I think that's something he's going to need when he gets to the next level. Not like baby, like not like holding his hand kind of stuff, but like they need to teach him how to look off receivers a lot more than he did at Ohio State. Because again, some people say he makes reads, like blah 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 blah, and of course he does. Every quarterback has to make reads. He's not throwing to his first target every time. But
He's staring him down though.
That Ohio State offense does not rely heavily on the quarterback to have to make a bunch of reads,
right?
Or even reads in general on every play. I mean, there are plays on my game tape breakdown where he only stares at one receiver.
Right. Oh, it's so obvious.
It's a thing, dude. Like, and again, he's good at the deep ball throwing, so we get it. That's why he's looking downfield.
But NFL secondary will eat that up.
Right, exactly. And that's where my concern is. It's exactly where it is. It has nothing to do with talent. I know he's a good kid. He's smart. He's very articulate. He seems to be a very good leader.
Right.
My only question about him is will you be able to learn how to do this at the next level? Being able to know what the defense is doing pre-snap, identifying what it's doing while you're dropping back, or even if you're in shotgun, determining what the defense is doing. You have to be able to make that. You have to be able to make those decisions on the fly as a quarterback, and you have to be able to do it very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And so that processing that he needs to do on the field, I don't think he showed enough of it at Ohio State. That's my argument against him. Has nothing to do with the talent. And I will say this right now. If we take him at 2, you will not see me shedding tears. I think a lot of people will still be upset.
Right.
Because they want Wilson. I think that's the dominating
camp.
Right. Exactly. I think most people want Wilson, but I will not be one of the people crying. If we take Fields, if Joe Douglas says, you know what, this guy just shows so much potential as a runner, as a thrower, and good leader, like, I'll support it. I absolutely will. And it's just a matter of the Jets building around him.
Yeah. It's hard to, I don't know how I feel about taking Fields at the 2nd overall pick. You know, it's just hard for me to say it out loud, you know.
You and I were giddy at that. When we were watching that Clemson game, he was showing stuff.
Oh, he was killing it.
He was dead on that night. And again, you can say whatever you want. One game does definitely not make a college career, and I'm not suggesting that it does.
Oh, that's the inconsistency.
You're gonna knock that thing over if you keep kicking that.
Sorry.
Just a tip. So let's see. It says Philip III says Fields can't be any worse than Darnold when it comes to reading defenses. Agreed. Darnold never learned how to read a defense. That's something that kills me to this day. I still can't believe.
Thanks, Adam Gaze.
Yeah, it sucks because I feel like that was Sam Darnold's hurdle as well.
Right.
Not just reading a defense, but with him it was decision making. But I feel like more importantly, he needed to learn how to actually see what the defense was doing. Because there were too many times where he's holding the ball and not really making plays and making quick decisions. Like, you got to get the ball out.
Or just chucking it to random locations.
Well, that's the worst. That's the decision-making part. But, like, you never saw him get off of, like, a first, second read and then just chuck it down to the running back.
Yeah.
Like, make that quick decision.
I think it was a panic.
Yes, it always felt like that. Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, you guys are agreeing with me. This isn't a Sam Darnold bash session,
It's
but
worse than Darnold.
it is the truth. Like, he showed too much on tape that just does not look good. Like, good quarterbacks don't typically do the thing that he's doing.
Right.
Robert Saleh says he's the new Ghostbusters, gonna make Sam great.
No, I hope not.
I didn't think you actually believe that, Robbie. Are you actually a Sam Darnold guy? I didn't know that. If you are, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Sam Darnold. I just worry. That's all. That's really what it is. So
if we keep Sam, we better load that team up. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. Cross the streams, Bob.
Price is wrong.
All right. Let's see here. If you guys want to call in, this is a good time too. We are taking calls. The number is at the top of the screen here.
Let's hear from you guys.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you guys for sure. Thank you for joining us. We've been having a great time talking with you guys. I hope you enjoyed the new stream smoothness, I guess, if that's what you will.
New application, new technologies, as Robbie Oak says.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot more sustainable and a lot less stress for us because I don't think we told them, which is anyone who was waiting in the lobby last week, you would have saw that the stream went in and then it went out and then it was canceled and it was recreated.
Yeah.
And basically this man over here had to recreate the entire stream on a different OS.
Yeah.
in 10 minutes. So it's amazing to say that out loud.
Yeah. But yes, I appreciate that. I do. But anyway, yeah, this is the new setup, and this is going to be the look for quite a while because I've been fucking with this for way too long now, trying to perfect it and to get it right. We are now set up for the long haul. Yeah, Philip III, dude, send me a tweet right now. And listen, man, Philip III, I don't think you've gotten a free koozie, dude.
Yeah,
email me at myjtoday@gmail.com, and I will mail you a free koozie. That's what I'm all about, is getting back to my community.
Show them what it looks like.
Watch that podcast. Sorry, I plugged the owner. Yeah. I remember that one. Yep, I will check it out. Yeah, Sean Bennett. I am all over Joe Tooney. I think if you're asking me my rankings right now, Joe Tooney.
Especially with Brandon out, you got to go Joe Tooney.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be crazy not to.
Oh yeah, Philip III, been bleeding green since 1978, dude.
Ooh.
That's amazing.
Run strong.
Yeah, dude. So what were we just speaking about? I'm sorry.
The topic was about tailgating traditions, but we were talking.
Oh no. We were
talking about Justin Fields.
Yeah, we were talking about Joe Tooney though. So I was gonna say, if you're asking me right now, Joe Tooney is my number one target in free agency. Curtis Samuel falls, and I really want Yannick Ngakoue.
I saw that video. That was a good video.
Yannick Ngakoue changes the defense, man. He would really bring a threat on the edge that's very highly consistent. 8+ sacks every single season since he's been drafted. He's a threat. And Quinnen Williams and Jonathan Franklin Myers, the three of them together will cause havoc.
But do you worry about, on the free agency, do you worry? I mean, obviously we have the cap space to do whatever we want. But do you think Joe should be somewhat conscious to what we sign these guys to on contract?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, of course. And I'm not suggesting that they should sign all three.
No.
That's just my ranking. I actually have a predictions video coming out this weekend. You guys will see it on Sunday morning. I gave away, I think it's 6 players that I predicted, or 5 players that I predicted that the New York Jets will sign. And again, this is not my prediction of what I would do. This is my prediction of what I think they will do. And somebody in the chat earlier mentioned Corey Davis, the wide receiver from the Titans. I apologize, I'm just remembering it now, but I will give you a sneak peek since you're watching this stream. He is one of my predictions. I actually believe Corey Davis will be signed by the New York Jets. I don't think that Curtis Samuel will be signed. So as much as I've been singing his praises, my prediction is that Joe Douglas will not sign him. I think somebody's going to outbid him, I think.
Who do you think's most aggressive to go for him?
For Curtis Samuel? I have no idea. That's not my job though. My job is to talk Jets, and I don't think that Joe Douglas will sign him. I think he's gonna get outbid for Curtis Samuel, and I do think that Joe Douglas will pivot. He will get Corey Davis, who had a very nice year last year, top 5 pick a couple years ago. He's still young. He's tall. He's fast. Yeah. He kind of reminds me of Brashard Perriman, just a little bit like him. Same kind of build.
That's a good comparison.
So I could see the Jets signing him, and that's one of my predictions. I feel pretty confident in that one. Corey Davis, I think, will be a New York Jet. Not certain of it, just think pretty confidently. Let's see here. I've decided I can't call in until after the draft. You'll end up hanging up on me for pumping fields and bashing walls.
Yeah, and for that
Grant Rude, I think you're just shy, man. Because listen, dude, I kind of said it earlier. You are welcome to disagree with us. We will not make fun of you. It's not. We only make fun of this guy. And I gotta remind you. Oh.
Where's Jamie? Yo, back me up, man.
No way.
Back me up.
I have a feeling JD ends up liking Fields more than Wilson. It's possible. It's possible, Jets Wire official. Absolutely. It is more than possible. Absolutely, we just need a better production of off the edge to take advantage of Quinnen. That's what I've been saying, dude. That's right. Joe, you've been watching my videos. You hear me preaching pass rush. Again, which would you rather have? A great secondary and a terrible pass rush? Or would you rather have a really good pass rush and a terrible secondary? And 10 out of 10 times, you want the better pass rush. And Joe Douglas's philosophy is exactly that. He says he wants to build his team through the trenches. Go prove it, Joe Douglas.
Yeah.
Go get an edge rusher. The San Francisco 49ers did that.
Right.
When they got to the Super Bowl, they had pass rushers coming out of their ass.
And we got Robert, so that's what they're talking about.
This is why I have been talking about it all offseason. People who keep saying, we're gonna sign or we're gonna draft J.C. Horn at 23. Okay, sure, cornerback would be great, but you got to make sure you get an edge rusher. If we do not sign somebody of veteran quality in the pass rushing market, there are a ton of names. And again, I would like you guys to go ahead and start throwing the names in the chat.
Let's do it.
Shaq Barrett is out there.
Yeah, he's sitting out there.
Trey Hendrickson from the Saints, 13.5 sacks last year. Yannick Ngakoue, 8+ sacks the last 4 or 5 seasons. We have to hit a pass rusher. We have to get one. Our pass rush has sucked since John Abraham.
Dude, that was the last time.
John Abraham, back in 2005 or something. I think it was forever.
That's
Oh, no, not 2005. It was 2009 or 2008, I guess, because we traded him for the Nick Mangold pick. So, yeah, I mean, forever ago, 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah. Carl Lawson, Trey Hendrickson.
Carl Lawson is a big name. People are talking about him.
Bud Dupree.
Bud Dupree, yes. Pass rush over secondary all day long. You know it, because that is the only way to affect the quarterback. You could have the best secondary in the NFL, and if you have no pass rush, they're eventually going to get burned. It's
100%.
just they can't hold up.
100%.
More times than not, the front seven makes the corners look better, not the other way around. 100%. We suck at pass rush. It's time for that to change. Yes. We need a defensive end. It is our biggest need outside of quarterback.
Muhammad Wilkerson.
If we do not address edge, we will continue to lose football games. We will continue to suck on third down. We will continue to suck in the red zone.
100%. I totally agree.
A couple of free agents, 49ers, Sherman, and who else would be a good choice? Sean Bennett. I don't want to spoil all of my eggs, my friend, because I have a video coming out on Sunday.
His eggs.
You tell me. That's what I want. You're asking me. You tell me, and I will talk about it on the channel. I'm not going to give away my secrets, sir. I got a channel to run. Grant Root says, I'd like to see a guy like Hendrickson, but I also want to see 2 good cover outside linebackers. We have no one. And that's actually one of the names on my list for when we were talking topic 2, favorite trade back targets. We didn't even talk about him. The linebacker Micah Parsons from Penn State.
Yeah, that's a good name. 2018,
83 tackles, 1.5 sacks. 2019, 100+ total tackles, 5 sacks. This dude is a stud. A stud. And we need, like you said, we have no outside linebackers.
What school did you play for?
Penn State.
Penn State.
And he's a physical freak, dude. He can run. He can cover. That's a pretty cool story. I met John Abraham at an airport, and he was drunk as fuck.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, John Abraham.
He
was a Southern boy.
Yeah, I've heard stories.
He was a Southern guy. He was South Carolina, and then he also, after he played for the Jets, he played for the Falcons.
If he wasn't so injury prone, I mean, he was dominant when he was on the field.
Mm-hmm. Pats would disagree on the rush over secondary debate. They dominated for 20 years, just saying. Yes, but they also have...
They got pressure, though.
Sure. They've had really good players. They've had Richard Seymour, who's a good pass rusher kind of guy.
They had really good linebackers.
The other guy, Willie McGinnis, is another dude that I'm thinking of. He was a very good pass rusher. I'm not going to sit here and name all the names. There, Chris Chandler they had as well, defensive end who went to the Cardinals. He was a very good pass rusher. The Patriots have had good pass rushers. Now, I'm not saying they had the best pass rushers, and that's not what the Jets need.
Who was their big guy they had? It was DT.
With Vince Wilfork? He's not really a pass rusher, but defensive line, trenches.
For sure.
The Patriots absolutely had a very good secondary, no doubt, for years. Ty Law.
What was his name?
You have Stephon Gilmore now. There have been players throughout their run right now of 20 years, like you said, great secondary players.
Darrell Revis.
But you have to have a Darrell Revis. You have to have a well-rounded pass rush, and that's what they had. They didn't have any one dominant beast like an Aaron Donald,
Right.
but they were a well-rounded defense. They had players that could get after the quarterback on the edge, in the interior.
Consistent.
Yeah, consistent pass rush, right. You don't have to have an Aaron Donald to win a Super Bowl.
Correct.
They have not won one with him. We want guys who can get that 8 to 10 sack range, and you want as many of them as you can get, because then you're making blocking very difficult for an offensive line. They can't just focus on the one guy like an Aaron Donald. If you can spread it out, if you can get your defensive tackle on the inside and an edge rusher on the outside, they're having to change things. They're going to have to double block inside. They're going to have to chip with the tight end and the running back on the outside to make sure that edge isn't getting in all the way. It changes the way the offense plays. And again, that's what you want. You want offenses and defensive schemes that change the way the opposition's playing.
Especially when you got Bryce out there.
Bryce Hall?
Yeah.
Again, that's what helps average quarterbacks look really good. And that's kind of what Joe was talking about earlier. Exactly. Phil took the words off my page. No, but the Pats created pressure by design. Exactly. And that's kind of what I was going to get to, is that Belichick is, you can say what you want about him. He is a great defensive mind. He comes from that background. Like that's who he was as a defensive coordinator. And he absolutely knows how to game plan on defense. What he did against the Bills, against Jim Kelly in that Super Bowl was just genius. He basically set it up so that they were going to jam the receivers all game long, not let them get out on their routes, and they were going to let Thurman Thomas just run all over them. And he said, it's okay if he beats us.
Right.
Don't let Jim Kelly beat us. And they did not. They did not explode for big touchdowns or anything like that. Reed wasn't doing his thing. Andre, sorry, I was forgetting his name for a second. Andre Reed wasn't doing his thing in that game. And he changed the course, of that Super Bowl. I mean, he changed the way that game was played and the way the offense was going to play. So, Fields versus Lawrence at MetLife, Thursday Night Football. Yes, that would be very interesting. But so would Wilson and Lawrence. So would Wilson and Fields. You can make the case for any of those top quarterbacks going head to head.
Some pretty hot matchups this year.
There always are, man. There always are. We finally have a guy in the building that values the pass rush in Saleh. Not just Saleh, Joe Douglas. Both of them combined, they have the same philosophy, and that's what we need to be excited about. And that's why nobody should be feeling nervous, because, again, we might not win this year. And Robert Saleh has alluded to that. He's talked about that. I don't know how long this is going to take, he said. He says he doesn't know. There's no timeline right now. But their plan, they are so confident in their plan.
And they're being transparent, I think that you won't have that sense of, regardless of whether the season goes positively or negatively, I think that there will be a consistent level of excitement still because of what Robert Saleh brings to the team, and that, for me, as a fan, and knowing how bad last season was, for me anyway, I'm just speaking for myself, how bad it was and how hard it was to watch last season, that's a real big thing for me, knowing that win or lose, I still think it'll be an exciting season to watch. So,
of course. Sean Bennett, I was at that game, dude. I was at the Packers-Jets season-clinching Week 17 game. It was the best 2-game run I was at both games, and it was just the thrill of my life, dude.
Yeah.
Sean Bennett, those were the best memories, man. I was like my teens at that time, and it was just great, just fantastic time. All right, so let's move on. The running backs we have now are not good enough, and that will be proven by when they change the backfield. So Philip III, let me know what you think in the chat about who they are going to target at the backfield position, because right now it's pretty up in the air what they're going to do at running back. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Joe, he says, if we look at a linebacker, I hope we grab JOK. Dude is a stud. I believe you might be referring to Javante, but I'm not sure. Can you let me know who JOK is? I'm not privy to those abbreviations quite yet. Yeah, Philip III, he says he was at that game too. Isn't that ridiculous? So there you go. 3 Jets fans that were at the same game like
What section were you in?
19 years ago. 123.
Is that what he said?
No, that's what I was
No,
in.
but Philip, what section were you in? Let us know.
Oh, yeah. So this guy, Robbie Oak, talking about the Notre Dame linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Yes, he is another one that reminds me kind of like same build of a Micah Parsons, excuse me. Very athletic, can cover, can run. We need guys that can do
Very
that.
dynamic.
And to follow up with your comment that reminded me of Micah, Straight Fire earlier said I wouldn't touch Parsons. He was in a bullying scandal that made waves. Joe D won't touch him. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I'll disagree with you, Straight Fire. And again, you know I'm going to shoot you straight. I actually don't agree because Mekhi Becton had that whole issue where I think he failed a drug test it was shortly like after the combine or something like that. And Joe D called Mekhi Becton and he talked to him on the phone, man to man. And I think after that conversation, Joe was convinced that he could trust he could trust Mekhi Becton. So let's not make complete judgment yet on Parsons. I haven't read about the story, and I will do that after this stream so that I'm a little bit more informed on Parsons. But I don't think that we can rule it out, though, because Joe Douglas, I think, will talk to guys like that and hear their side of it, and then maybe talk to people that were involved in the situation, maybe friends, coaches, and get some more information from other people about what happened too. Like he's gonna research it and not just say like, "Oh, he was in a bully scandal. I'm not gonna touch him." Yeah. So he's just gonna learn. Yep, because again, you got to remember these are kids. I mean, these are kids who are literally 21, 22, 23 years old. Right. I don't know about you, man. I was pretty stupid at that age too. So doesn't excuse them. I'm not saying that. Like, mistakes aren't.
Just doesn't take him off the list.
Right. I would say you have to hear his story. Maybe he's a good kid. Maybe he has a tough childhood. I have no idea. I really think Corey Davis is a Joe Douglas type of guy. Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. I don't think there's any doubt that Corey Davis is a guy that he's going to be interested in, and that is why I predicted him to the Jets. Isn't JOK an inside linebacker? I have no idea. You guys are going to have to be a little more specific here.
JOK.
Let's see here. Philip III said he was in section 103, row 16.
Damn. Where were you? 123?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Loved it. It was one of the best times of my life. I have, there's a picture somewhere. I'll have to get it. But we were right in front of Richie Anderson. The touchdown that kicked off that playoff game. Richie Anderson ran in front of our sideline. Special. That's all it was. Great memories. The Jets are horrible. They give us more bad memories than they do good memories, but the good ones really do stand out. So I guess I'm appreciative of that. Robbie Oak says, I'd like Jamal Williams and use check from San Francisco. Yes, those are players I like. I'm not going to spoil any more of who I'm going to be signing or giving the Jets. Yeah, the video is going to come Sunday. One of those players is in the video. I'll say that. Let's see. I don't know anything about him except what I've read on the analysts list. He can't cover his ass off. If Mosley is anything near what he was, and we run a 4.25, it would be a nasty fit. Let's see. I was 217. Section 217, Sean Bennett says. All right, so they're just talking in the chat. Let me just go ahead and, before we wrap it up, go ahead and challenge you guys to call in. We're going to talk for a few minutes. We can talk a little bit about the next stream because I've got some ideas and he's probably got some ideas here. But before we leave, call into the show. Give us a holler. We love talking with you guys. Thank you again so much for coming and watching and listening and being a part of our weekly tradition here. So we look forward to continuing to do this basically every week. This is the thing. This is 2 months.
It's only going to get more exciting.
Yeah, we've done this for now 8 weeks in a row. I mean, this is our thing now. So we will be seeing you every week doing this, whether we have 1 million people or just a couple of people. That's all that matters. We're going to keep doing it.
We'd love for you guys to be part of it. So chat, it's just getting better and better every week.
Yeah.
So you guys really make a big difference. Topics for next week. I think
Free agency.
It's going to absolutely be free agency. Those will dominate probably the first 3 topics.
Free agency starts next Wednesday.
100%.
So I expect you guys to have all of the breaking news because we'll be streaming it live. So we won't, we'll be on our phones and I'll be checking Twitter during the stream, I'm sure, that night. But I'm going to be relying on you guys. If there's breaking news, you need to
tag us in the Twitter.
You need to tag me on Twitter. I got a follow from Mullins. I'm following you, sir. Have a great night. Free agency is going to be the only topic next week, and we are counting on you guys to fill us up with chat discussions like you've done all the last month or so. So we just really appreciate you guys. Go Jets, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace, guys.
Love and peace. Go
Love
Jets.
Talk to you next week.